Hi, it's great to see you again. I'm here today because I want to share with you my top 3 tips for reaching your ideal weight. So you might be kind of wondering, hang on a minute, you've been talking about using creativity as a tool to change my life. Why are you now talking about ways to lose weight or reach my ideal weight? Not necessarily lose weight. That's because I want to shift my focus just a little bit to using creativity as a tool to change your body or your relationship with your body and your relationship with food, which may or may not change your body. Okay. And I did actually do a little bit of a video on this a few days ago on YouTube, which you can take a look at. But today I want to focus a little bit more on how you can use creativity as a tool with my top 3 tips. Today I want to focus on how you can use creativity as a tool to change your body and your relationship with your body and your relationship with food by giving you my top 3 tips for how I get to my ideal weight. So the first thing I would say is I can't really tell you my ideal weight because I don't actually know it, because I don't think it's a very good measure of my body and how I feel in my body. I actually check in with my body and think how I feel in my body, and I see how I feel in my clothes as well. So I'll talk more about ideal weight and what that means, but in another video. But for now, just leave that aside for a second. And these are my top 3 tips for getting into my ideal weight. And I'm going to go in reverse order, and I'll give you my number 1 tip last. So make sure you watch to the end of the video because you'll get the best tip. I'm saving the best for last. And I'm also going to give you an offer, which I hope you'll enjoy. So number three way to reach your ideal weight is when you go to the grocery store to stock up, to buy the stuff that your body tells you need to eat. Don't buy food, buy ingredients. Okay. I don't mean to be cryptic about that, but it's an important distinction. When my kids were little, they had been for a visit with their dad, and he called me up and he said, I just wanted to check and make sure you're okay. You've got enough money and everything. And I said, yeah, I'm good. What's the problem? And he said, our oldest had told him that there was no food in our refrigerator. And it took us a while to figure out that actually what she meant was, as a 12-year-old, my fridge was crammed with stuff, but to a 12-year-old, there was no food because there wasn't anything she could just reach in and grab and eat, right? So I didn't keep a lot of snacks around. So I realized afterwards that I had to organize some food for her that she could just eat readily, rather than just ingredients that I make for myself. And I advise you to do the same thing. I've always done that. Partly I was forced to when I was younger because I lived in Asia and I couldn't get a lot of the things I was used to getting in the States, like croutons, for example. We couldn't really get croutons that were very good. So I just made my own. So I'm not saying you have to make your own croutons. I'm just saying when your body tells you what you want to eat, make it yourself instead of buying it in packets. And a couple reasons for that is you can't control, the main reason is you can't control what's in it, right? You can't really control what's in the ingredients either, but there's more scope for way too much salt and way too much sugar and way too much chemicals that have the effect of making you feel full without really feeling satisfied, and make you want to eat more. And that's true of diet foods as well, especially true of diet foods. Apparently they've done studies that say that diet foods are, even though they're lower in calories, you eat twice as much just to compensate for that. So, because they don't make you feel satisfied. So anyway, more on that in a later video. But for now, my number 3 tip is buy ingredients, not food, at the grocery store when your body tells you what you want to eat. So my number 2 thing involves a little bit about when you get to the grocery store, there is so much choice, right? We have an abundance of food. We have so many choices when we get to the grocery store. But here's the thing. We need to change our mindset from thinking that food is scarce, right? We need to change from a mindset of, oh my God, there's not enough to eat, to, oh my God, there's loads to eat. Because what's happening is the oldest part of our brain, called the lizard brain, is the part of our brain that controls our eating. And it thinks that we are still living on the savannas, out on the plains, hunter-gatherers, and that there's a very real possibility that we will starve to death. So for most of us, thankfully, in the Western world today, I know there are still a lot of people who suffer from this, but most of us are much more at risk of overeating than undereating, right? Starving to death. So we need to retrain that ancient part of our brain to show it that we don't it doesn't have to worry about scarcity. Because what happens is, you've probably done this, right? You've been on diets before. You managed to say, okay, I'm going to restrict my food and I'm going to only eat a certain amount of food. And that worked for a limited period of time and you lost weight for a period of time. But at a certain point, you always go back to eating the same amounts. You always go back to eating too much. So until you can, and that's because, by the way, that's because that scarcity has kicked in with your brain. Because you're withholding food from your brain, the scarcity's kicked in, and your lizard brain goes, oh my God, holy crap, there's no food. So at some point, you will stop being able to bully your lizard brain into not eating very much. And it will just eat everything but the kitchen sink, right? It can eat a Buick, right? Including, and I'm sure you've done this because I've done it too, those leftover Christmas chocolates from 2015 with the strawberry centers that weren't very good when they were fresh and they're gross, but you eat them anyway because you're just starving for something sweet and something sugary. So anyway, the point is you need to retrain your lizard brain. Train it out of scarcity and to realize that there's an abundance. And the way that you do that is to give it whatever it wants. Stop dieting, stop restricting. Now, that's exciting, isn't it? Right? You don't have to diet. I said this is the top 3 ways to reach your ideal weight without crazy dieting. But you're probably thinking, oh my God, I can't do that. I can't just let myself eat whatever I want because I will eat like I do when I go off a diet and the crazy scarcity brain kicks in and I go, and I eat everything in sight. You won't if you retrain your lizard brain to that there's no scarcity, that there's abundance, right? And the part of the way you will do that is my tip number 1, which is listen to your body. Right? Your body does not have that scarcity bias. Your body knows exactly how much you need to eat and it knows what you need to eat, right? And it will keep you from overeating, right? Retraining your scarcity brain will also, your lizard brain from the scarcity will also help keep you from overeating. Because eventually you will get to a point where you think, okay, there's plenty of food. I don't need to do that. There's plenty of Oreos. I can have Oreos whenever I want. And so you don't want them as often. But the number 1 thing that will do it is listening to your body. So you probably think one of the reasons we tend to think we're overweight, and I've heard people say they're overweight because they love food. They just love eating. They don't want to give up eating. But here's the thing. When you listen to your body, you will realize that there comes a certain point in eating where you're not really enjoying the food. You're in discomfort, right? You're eating too much. I can feel it. Like my stomach starts to hurt. Like my jeans remind me of that because they start to feel tight. At a certain point, you are overcoming the discomfort of eating rather than actually enjoying eating. So if you listen to your body, you will stop right on the edge of that discomfort. You will stop just at the point. I've done this before where I've got one more mouthful of food on my plate and I'm really enjoying it. But I go to put that last mouthful in, and as I'm chewing the one before, I think, I'm full. I'm done. And I put it down. And you too, my friend, can do this too if you are listening to your body because you recognize that it just hurts to eat too much, right? So these are my top 3 tips, right? Tip number 1, listen to your body. And if you do that, that flows on to the other 2 tips too, which is number 2 is retrain your lizard brain out of scarcity and into abundance. You can have anything. There's loads of everything. You don't need to go nuts and eat it all at once because there's plenty. An important mindset that also makes us happy as well, right? And tip number 3, when you listen to your body and you know what you're going to eat, make it yourself. Buy the ingredients and make it yourself. And here's a little top tip on the side. If you don't love cooking from scratch the way that I do, in other words, the way that I don't necessarily love cooking everything from scratch, especially when I've come home from a long day at work, buy yourself a good gas grill. Man, I scrape snow off of that sucker in the winter, and I cook everything on it. My kids tease me about it all the time. I cook corn on the cob. I cook, chicken breast pounded out, 3 minutes on each side. Boom, it's done. I cook everything on the grill, and it's easy, and it's a great way. But I don't always do that, right? I'm not saying, this is why I hate to get into the whole food talk. Sorry, I shouldn't get into the food talk. Because I eat loads of pasta with bacon and cheese and all kinds of stuff on there. I eat whatever I want because I listen to my body to learn how much to eat. So I'm going to talk about all these ideas, except maybe not the food. I might stay away from the food one, but I'll talk about the ideas of retraining your mindset, your lizard brain, so that you are in a state of abundance instead of an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. And I'm going to talk also more in detail about listening to your body in a separate video. But all of this flows from getting into creative flow, listening to your body, and changing your mindset. Basically making friends with your body so that you can stop trying to hate it into thinness, right? You can't hate your body into thinness if you make friends with it and listen to it. And that will lead you into thinness, possibly. Sorry, I can't guarantee you'll lose weight. No one ever can. But and also how to make friends with food so that you stop treating food like a toxic lover that keeps ending up in your bed, right? Much to your embarrassment. And also how to make friends with your mind, your lizard mind, and stop trying to bully it into starving you to death, and get your mind on your side, right? So we can bring everything back into balance and alignment again, like I've been talking about, right? The mind, the rational mind, including that lizard brain, and the rational mind doesn't try to control or abuse you, and the lizard brain doesn't try to take over and make you eat everything in sight. And the body, you're listening to your body, and you're listening to your spirit and your intuition, and everything is in alignment. And it's magic, sort of. Because let's face it, nothing is ever perfect, right? But it's good enough. So look out for my new videos tomorrow. In the next few days, I'm going to be posting a new video every day. And let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now. Please leave a comment and I'll answer all your comments. Okay, bye for now.